my name is David Brager. I'm a white hat computer hacker from back in the 70s when the hackers were mostly the good guys. I applied internet tools to history. A world map is a calendar year. Humans are data packets. Lies are viruses. Everyone faces forward in space-time. The Declaration of Independence is clear. If I see duty against a tyrannical government that nobody else sees, if I believe in the Union, I must rise to defend all. I'm Jewish of the direct paper of King David, born XXY with Klinefelter syndrome. Judaism assumed a religion of slaves. When the paper ends, then runs on the mother's side. As mom's dad turned up in the book Finding Our Fathers, a guidebook to Jewish genealogy, Isidore Lurie, born in Lubao in Russia, is of the paper of King David. Revelation said some nincompoop of the paper of King David had to rise to do something. With the internet, I got to be everywhere on the planet without leaving home. In the game of Armageddon is written 484 years of always faithful Marines who carry a Marine Corps Bible were never told how from the end of the age today back to Sermon on the Mount is just a segment of time. From an Einstein who never had a freedom of speech, it was his argument that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, three wise men, don't have a Torah, and Moses never lived to see a Torah. The hell are we carrying? Somebody caught a virus and wrote the Torah. People writing computer viruses are infected by defective logic. The zombies are already here. In the game of Armageddon is written 484 years of always faithful Marines have drug around a Torah with our 5 books of Moses being actually 6, because when you apply literary criticism, the most memorable part is that manna. Slice here, you find that we were so trusting of the son of a bitch that wrote the Torah. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had 2 commandments using thumbs and 8 rules using fingers. If we arrive with this is a computer. We would have had computers for 3,000 fucking years. Any son of a bitch who wants me to go back to all those fucking rules so they can be my rabbi, fuck you! I've got something you don't have. I have Marines to seek out clothes with and destroy the enemy. In 1833, U.S. President Andrew Jackson closed the second U.S. bank. As he put it, he did not want these wicked people in his government. They trotted over to Yale, opened Skull and Bones, and uncorked a unique set of a weapon array that you will only find in the Torah in 1833 as you study how a free man is enslaved by a Torah with so much fucking red tape. The red tape is the weaponry of the weak. So, in the game of Armageddon is written, they went to the north and the south and attacked them both. They gave bad advice to both sides to attack each other, and they sold opium to all sides. Poppy Bush opium attacked the United States for the last 100 years. George Herbert Walker Bush stated to Sarah McClendon, go talk to Pete Bruton in Texas Tech if he's still alive. Sarah, if the people ever knew what we Bushes had done to this nation, we'd be chased down the streets and lynched. That is an admission of guilt from someone who then could not take oath of office to be President of the United States or head of CIA. Now, in the movie and in the book, all the president's men, Deep Throat stated that the attack was everywhere, that we had been completely, the espionage was everywhere. I'm here to prove the espionage is a third party. These sons of bitches are going to lose citizenship, all assets, all debts we owe their corporations and their lives overnight. The national debt's going to go bye-bye because the national debt is weaponry. JFK, just before he was shot to death in Dallas, said he found a plot to enslave the whole USA. Woodrow Wilson swore to his dying day he would never have put loans in Germany if he'd not been given bad advice as President of the United States. The instant that Biden came into the White House, the first thing out of his mouth is fracking. Fracking allows a rich man to play God in the game of Armageddon, doing earthquakes as weaponry against Southern California and all over the world. Just before 0311, March 11th, 2011, 2 days before, the Japanese Business Consortium, according to the internet, was attacked verbally by an American consortium that said, you will turn over control of your consortium to us, or we will drop you off the shelf. And 2 days' time, on 0311 to 0311, these guys went neener to the Marine Corps. We're going to kill every member of Skull and Bones, the business plot, the White House putsch, and the PNAC document, and bury them offshore. And dig them up if any of them are in Arlington or any U.S. government honor-based cemetery. In Laos, before Vietnam, Monsanto got busted for weather as weaponry. They just sold the Weather Corporation that they bought and everything to Bayer. About 2 years ago, I contacted by email the head of Bayer and let him know he bought 2 smoking barrels. One being weather as weaponry, and the other being overtaking the entire corn supply in the United States, kicking off a gene that makes it so that corn now makes Marines and everybody else ill, and patenting the only cure. Joe, I expect you to ask your Marine Corps to wake the fuck up and kill their domestic enemies now! I no longer own David Brager for President.com. I met with FBI in 2010. I wrote to Chaplain Captain Michael Parisi at the United States Naval Academy and asked him, should we set off the Rapture before or after Marine Corps birthday? I found a blueprint for a defensive weapon using mass communications to explode a myth and expose a very, very, very small number of infected people who are so wicked that the protectors are going to realize they have to kill these people and take all their money because they're using money as weaponry. The money reads, in God we trust, because in a crisis we never trust the money. We trust our Marines to seek out, close with, and destroy the enemy. That's a barrier between fantasy and reality. Love your enemy. How? 2 commands using thumbs, 8 rules using fingers, hypnosis to drive gaming, the subconscious to drive graphics. Cannabis was named a hypnotic by the DEA. It matters. You can skip the entire, I'm gonna count from 10 to 1, yada 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 crap, with 1 puff of concentrate. Drop into a subconscious state. We were doing hypnosis Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s. If you're not allowed to do the I'm going to count from 10 to 1 crap on the radio, and we can use triggers, you can play this sound, play this sound, play this sound, and have your guests pre-trigger themselves, having downloaded a piece of software we put on the internet to hear a series of sounds and to trigger specific responses from their bodies so that they can drop into a subconscious state as they choose. And they are fully responsible for their actions. I use scriptnosis, which is a contractual form of hypnosis I put in the public domain so parents can teach their kids. Though after what happened with the internet, kids will probably teach their parents. And everyone gets the upgrade and no one is left behind. The family of David was supposed to deliver this shit to Egypt, to Greece, to China. We went there in that order anyway, but we carried a document which reads how we built the pyramids, how homosexuality was forbidden, and pork was unclean. Forgive us our trespasses. My answer is we got the shit kicked out of them, and these doors were slammed in our faces, so should ever we find the correct communication, we could never deliver it. Thankfully, the fax machines at their embassies were quite accommodating. Please, Joe, let me put this girl to bed. I molested her in the first Darwin Awards book. Rodney Dangerfield said, polish your skills, bring work ready to roll, and wait for your audience. He said, my best foot forward with my hypnosis gaming platform. Go to tinyurl.com/upgradingpatriotism and read.